All right, at 9 o'clock. We'll come out of recess here. A motion to come out of recess.
Second.
A motion by Judy, seconded by Todd. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're out of recess. We have another agenda here, I guess, another approval agenda, the motion to approve the agenda, a regular meeting here.
So moved.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's say a pledge of allegiance. Please stand up. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Public comments. There's a public comment.
Good morning.
Hi.
I just wanted to stop up this morning and let you all know that a week from today, my office will be closed for DOT County Training Day in Red Oak. So after today, I'll post it social and with KMA.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you, Angie. Yeah. Anything else? If not, JD, do the engineer update.
Good morning, JD King, Page County Engineer. It's a lovely morning in Page County. It's fall, at least for today. We have some blades out in the districts. The engineer update went out Tuesday afternoon there, I believe. Got some blades out in the district working over the windrows. But not all blades are running. We had the rock haul with 3 trucks earlier in the week. Today we've got a couple tandems hauling dirt to X or hauling rock to the stockpile for shouldering up near Bethesda. Probably only a couple trucks hauling road rock to rock because it's the fall. That's fine. We're not putting on so much. We got a mower in the central area with the district operators mowing his gravels. We're shouldering right now west of Bethesda. We got part of a mile left between I and J Avenue. When that's done, they'll start at the north end of Redwood around J20 through Hepburn over to US 71 and back. And then we'll have that part done. Been working on removing a field entrance bridge at X Avenue north of J53 a little bit. An old field entrance bridge, saw bridge, but they're not really used by the public, just the landowner. So we've replaced that with a large railroad car tank. Big hole, a lot of dirt. But we've been doing that in various locations around the county. Our spray patching outfit is done for the season. Temperatures drive that. We're cleaned up the machine and the oil tank also. Winter service continues at the shop. Got a truck tractor having some eating tires issues up to alignment in Omaha. And did a service on a motor grader this past week. Working on close out paperwork for the J55 job. It's looking good. We've been sweeping a little bit on it, but temperatures are cool. Be interesting to see what happens on the weekend. They're talking to warm up on Saturday. And the Essex North project is getting closer. We're gonna have a pre-con on that next week on Wednesday. Project development continues on the J64 guardrail job and to stay on the schedule for the letting in January. Next week, have a title sheet for that project on the agenda in front of the board. Also working on a bridge replacement down on Z Road or M32 on the gravel. Also looking at the Yorktown project with those two bridges. Our office manager is off to her Iowa County Engineers Office Organization Conference this week. Also, the weed commissioner is at a roadside conference in Des Moines, which is not written down. The annex building's on the agenda. And I'll be happy to talk about ARPA monies. Although I don't have anything written down today. I got new quotes from the Green Bridge. I've got a price on a piece of equipment that we could use according to my superintendents, and whatever else is available. Questions for the update?
Dustin Road striping, I had a call on that.
Yes. Yesterday, we got a call from the painters, not the actual painter guys. They told us they'd be in this morning around 10.
What's to be painted
So
today?
they're supposed to paint it today.
Well, that'll be
We'll
good.
advise you. Yes,
Okay. That would be good.
thank you.
Okay. Next up, number 6 on the agenda. I see Jeff on there. An update on the jail.
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Looks like another beautiful day, as JD alludes to. So I like following him. He's always positive and bringing good weather for us. So it's awesome. So everything's moving along really well. I'm getting this redesign back off a bid. I did send you folks an email this morning. Did you guys receive that email okay?
Yes. Yep.
So in that email, you'll see there's a couple of, there's a floor plan and then what we call the reflective ceiling plan, just showing you where the locations of all the security walls and stuff will be, making sure that meets all the necessary code requirements and making sure we get our necessary classifications all throughout the jail. In that, you'll also see the relocated 911 dispatch. Tony and the sheriff are working diligently with our consultants here, making sure that the existing 911 desks are going to fit correctly within that 911 dispatch, make sure everything's laying out perfectly, and we're good with that. The consultants are finalizing the rest of the mechanical and electrical and plumbing separation between the two buildings, and just want to be real careful so everybody understands we're not building two different buildings. We're building one building that's going to have an isolation wall in between the jail, sheriff's department, and 911 dispatch, so we maintain the necessary risk category build 4 with the seismic C with the specialized hangars and all the other good stuff that goes with that, courtesy of the Homeland Security requirements. So that's ongoing. Structural engineer was due to be on vacation this week. He did cancel his vacation with the caveat that we need to get this back out for rebid. So he worked with us and have that going. Right now, the plan is getting the bid documents out the week of October 14th. Realistically, I want to make sure that everybody has all the clash detections done, make sure we got everything done. On the title block on the bottom of the page, that's going to have the date of October 18th. That's when it will be released to the public. And we'll start making phone calls that week of the 14th to contractors that have expressed interest, letting them know it's coming out, and making sure we get the link to the e-plan rooms, and then also reaching out to everybody that has interest. We do have a project bidding over in Council Bluffs on Tuesday. I've spoken with lots of contractors, like I've told you guys before. There's a lot of interest in the project. Seems like the construction backlog and stuff has backed up or has kind of backed off for everybody. So there's a lot of folks that are getting hungry when it comes to looking for more projects, which is going to lend itself to us really well. When we go back out for rebid, we are going to rebid total of 6 bid categories, like I outlined. The precast, we're gonna have to put back out for rebid, just for the fact that amount of changes that are going on. I think it's gonna warrant itself to a better competitive bid site sequence. General construction package, again, we all know about that. That came in way over budget. I know we have spoken previously about the Samuels Group placing bid like general public. We will be pursuing that also. So when we do submit that, it'll be 2 o'clock sealed. We won't know what anybody else does. We'll be required to carry the full bonding like anybody else. So that'll be per all the statutes here in the state. Big category 21, fire protection systems. We did not receive a bid. I have talked with 6 different contractors, said they'd take a look at it. 2 of them said they were going to bid it because again, they're looking for work. Plumbing, HVAC, we had the combined bid on that with the amount of changes when it comes to, let's say in the plumbing area. I don't know if you had a chance to look at that floor plan. Each individual cell had its own shower room. We have eliminated that and went with a shower in each day room. There, of course, has the necessary requirements for the state in those, which will drop the amount of fixtures needed. Of course, the infrastructure that goes into that, the plumbing, the water lines and stuff like that will be reduced also to help with the overall cost. Smoke vac system, again, that was a very robust system. Do not need that. So we're going with the automatic smoke vents that have the electric controls to them also to help with get this project within budget. And the electrical, again, we did not receive a bid on the electrical, but again, lots of folks interested. So there's a contractor in Red Oak and a couple other ones around the Omaha area. Here in Des Moines, there's quite a few folks here also. So some of the highlight dates, again, week of the 14th, realistically, we're looking to 18th for public release. Pre-bid meeting is set for October 29th. With the election coming up the following week, we were planning on having it in the Page room there. Tony has just informed me that's not available, but we will get a alternate location taken care of and get that out in front of everybody. It'll probably be also cleaned up or corrected on the notice to bidders that will go out the week previous. So we have that ready to go for everybody. Bids will be due November 12th at 2 o'clock. That is a Tuesday afternoon. Plan will be due right there in the Page room. Public opening of those bids, same day, 2:15. Public opening, we'll read them, and then our group will take those bids and talk with you folks, and also talk with Tony and the team, go and vetting, make sure everything is ready to go. And I will be down, and I do believe Sid will be down also on the 14th for the board meeting. I'm assuming that one's at 6 o'clock. That is on a Thursday evening to present. And with our recommendation as the best qualified responsive bidder, so we can get this project up and going. The ongoing work on site, if you noticed, Justin and his team have pulled off site. Reason being is we're waiting on structures to be released. We're looking at two weeks, maybe 3 weeks to get the precast structures. You will start seeing some of the water piping and stuff being delivered to site within the next week or two also. So that'll keep up and going. Everything goes according to plan. Get the footings and foundations going end of November, first part of December, get those in and installed before winter hits. And then with reaching out to different precast vendors, looking like end of March, first part of April for precast to be on site. So by getting the footings and foundations in, for some reason they're able to pull things up a little bit, then we'll be ready to go for those. And then also that's going to help with the general conditions. We won't have to worry about any extra needed heating during this upcoming winter season. And then the plan will be to have the building enclosed. Everything goes according to plan in part of next year. So any questions for me?
Any questions on the update? Okay.
The big thing will be if you folks know of any other contractors, we'll send out, once we get our list put together, I'll send it out to you, everybody on the board. If you know of anybody else that you would like us to make sure we reach out to, please let us know. We will have 3 people here in the office making phone calls to get interest back going on it make sure we get good responsive bids.
Yeah.
All right.
On all the bids we can get.
All righty, sir. Let's hope. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, jail update there. Number 7 on the agenda, we have use the courthouse grounds for Fairway Meat and Grocery, for Band Day.
I make a motion that we approve the application.
I'll second that.
A motion and second to approve that application. I guess.
Mayor,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes,
Clark.
Yes.
okay. On this application here. Normally don't fill this out. Three, four. Okay, I think got that done. All right. Next, we have several resolutions for property tax forgiveness on demolished properties owned by City of Shenandoah now. So resolution 48, 49, 50, and 51.
I move that we approve resolutions 48, 49, 50, and 51. Properties of the city of Shenandoah, that have been taken over by the city. Properties that are owned and demolished by the city of Shenandoah, 301 College Street, 211 West Sheridan Avenue, 706 9th Avenue, 809 5th Avenue.
Okay, so a motion there, and that was for resolution 48, 49, 50, and 51 together.
Yes.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right, got a motion and a second on all four of those resolutions. Any discussion on that? Understand what we're doing?
Mayor,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Okay, there's all those resolutions. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, it's in here. I'll go back in there. I guess. Okay, is that done? So we'll go to number 9 there. The annex building, stair lift quote, and office furniture.
Nick Hire, Page County Technician. 2 weeks ago, when I was here last, you guys asked for an itemized list of our office furniture requests. I sent that out the following Friday morning with the breakdown of what furniture we're requesting and the prices for those. It came to a total of around 4,600 and something. Today I gave you a list, another breakdown of quotes that we got for the stair lift installation. So the furniture was roughly $4,700. The phones that I spoke of in the last meeting for the setup and install of those is $255. Total of $4,955. The engineer's budget has $13,000 worked into it for this year for machines and fixtures. We will be using that to cover that cost. The stair lift, I had them come. They came on the following Monday and measured the stairs and the length of lift that was needed and the size of lift that was needed. That quote I also handed you today. The stair lift quote came in at $10,900. That is for two separate lifts, one to take up the first flight and another to take up the second flight. I spoke to him about a single lift to go the full length with the helical system that runs on the inside rail of that 180-degree corner, and he says it doubles the cost to put that one in, just because it's much more intricate and complicated to install. Looking back through the minutes, there was some ARPA money set aside to Tuck Point, our existing office. There was $9,358 earmarked to Tuck Point, our office, on April 26, 22. And then that was pulled back away when the first conversations of us moving into the annex were discussed. The difference between the money that was originally set aside and the installation of the lift is $1,542. We also put together our yearly utility costs for our existing office. Heat was $788, electricity was $711, the internet's $2,731, water and sewer $672, and the building insurance is $507. If we're not in that building, it'll save us $5,409 per year. All those utilities are currently already being paid for the annex building. We will use their existing MediaCom service over at the annex, as well as their phone systems and things like that. I also handed out today the quote for action or discussion from 101 Mobility. They're the recommended installer for this Harmar lift system. Came to $10,900. That's for the required stair, because it's a required lift, because it is a commercial building. They have to use the SL 600 model, which has a 350-pound weight limit. And then the installation is $275 per installer, and they would bring two down to ensure that it got done in one shot.
That's a question on that. I don't know a lot about lifts, but if they have to get off halfway up, if somebody was in a wheelchair at the bottom, how would they get onto the next seat to get to the top?
It would make accommodations would have to be made to assist
Have
them
to
to
help
do
them
so.
with that,
Even
yeah.
with the single lift accommodations would have to be made to
to
get.
get
the
their
wheelchair
cars
out.
up there, yeah, their wheelchair, yeah.
As well as the platform lift, it's the same as that helical lift. That would about double the cost as well.
Mm,
Is there a way to take out so we have that difference of $1,542? Could that still come out of the engineer's budget that you have for 13,000
It
and
could, yes.
just cover that difference?
Well,
Yeah.
and by memory, we took that money from Tuck Pointing, the engineer building, we were gonna roll it to doing the Veterans Arch that night, that's what we talked about.
No,
I thought that's what we said.
That was
We
the
just-
second time around. The first time.
Yeah, when we
the
talked
money
about
was
the second
initially-
time, it was, well, we're not gonna do this, let's slide it over
And
there.
the
That
reason
was-
we were not going to do that is because we were discussing the move to the annex.
Right, so I'm just saying, we kind of, I think, if I remember right, shifted that money from doing it, because we were
had the
maybe
archway
moving.
at 8858, we still had the engineer building at 9358, and we had the annex at 2180.
Yeah, we talked about using that, so yeah. Your budget has 13,000.
We had three different prices. The engineer building was still at 9358.
The other thing on those contracts, I was thinking about, look at those. If we don't do that, we've made a contract with Tuck Pointing, Andrews Tuck Pointing. Is there we're not doing our part of the deal if we've entered into a contract with them. Is there a cost to stopping that? Because we entered into a contract on the annex building. It's been approved a long time ago.
We don't.
I mean, the engineer
engineer's
building, I spoke of.
We signed a contract with them.
That's what I'm
We
curious
don't
of.
have to pay for that.
We can back out of our contract.
Yeah.
Without
we
any-
weren't gonna do that. We told them that we weren't gonna do that. The engineer's office.
After we had agreed to do it. But this,
No, we did, we signed.
I'm just curious if we signed something and there is a,
We told them that we were gonna do the annex and the arch, but we weren't gonna do the engineer's building.
right, I just want to know if our contract, I think maybe we read that. If there was a cost to getting out of the contract, all
No,
I'm
not
asking.
that part. We were gonna do the two things, but not the engineer's building. So we didn't have to pay for that.
Okay, so,
We just said, no, we're not doing that part. So we had that 9358
then, okay,
still in ARPA money. So that could be used for this.
okay. That, those contracts, I don't know if maybe it'd be good to look at our contracts, Andrew's touch point, maybe look at those over again.
No, we don't have to because we already took care of that.
I don't remember doing that. Did we go over that?
We did it, yes. We took care of it in whatever, April. When we did the archway. That was approved.
I remember switching to the archway from there. I'm just saying I wanted to make sure the language in the contract releases us. So he's given a release, Andrews has.
Yeah, all we approved it on that day. was the-
I know we did. I'm like, did he? That was what I'm
Yes.
curious about.
All we approved that day with him was the annex and the archway with him. We did not, we said no when we were doing the engineer's building. So that was it.
Well,
All of these costs over the course of 2 years will be offset by the savings from us being out of that building.
So Andrew is totally out of that for that 9358. So that's free and clear with the ARPA money. That's back in there, so that can be used for this lift,
so that contract we had has been voided or whatever with Andrews.
for that part, yes. So that can be used for the lift.
I guess as long as that contract is void. I've not seen it voided, like it's canceled, he's released it. I've not seen that. I know we said
We
that.
never signed it. It was never signed, Jacob. That part of it was never signed.
He made a bid to us for a specific amount. We voted and to agree to it.
The only thing that was signed for was the annex and the archway. Those are the only things that we approved.
Okay. As long as that's, just wanna make sure our contracts are all proper, that we're going through here.
That was all that was approved. Okay.
So, the other issue with moving is, so there's still kind of a, if this lift is the way we wanna do it, I mean, that is the decision.
I was in the building on Tuesday for an interagency meeting and I looked again, going through the building, going up the first stairs and, second set, and I think the stair lift is the way to go with it. At this point, so I would move that we go ahead and purchase the stair lift. For the 10,900, get a move on and get the engineer's office moved.
Did they give you, what was the lead time for that? Did you?
He says he has one of these SL600s in stock.
Yeah.
And he would take him a week to get the second one and then a day to install.
Day
So
to install,
look,
okay.
8 to 10 days from approval could easily be installed,
Okay,
according to within their scheduling. I don't know what their scheduling is like, but he said from the time he's given the go, he could have all the materials within 8 to 10 days. And then it would just be a matter of getting down here.
How wide are those stairs? I can't remember.
The stairs are over 5 feet wide. I know
Okay.
that. This
I thought
chair,
they were
it
wide.
says,
It's
in
11
the
inches,
quote
it
there,
says.
when the chair's folded up, it's only 11 inches. So
There'd
we're
still be
definitely
4
assuming
foot.
4 foot for 2 people could easily walk up the stairs next to
Okay.
this.
That's a picture of it, Jacob, if you want to see it.
And it would be on
That's
the wall side, or which side are you
Wall
going on? Since you're not going around the corner, you're going on the wall side.
Yeah.
You need to see it, Todd.
oh, yeah. Yep, I can.
I couldn't remember how
Yeah.
wide they were. I thought they might only be 4 foot wide.
No, they're plenty wide. I'm 6'1". I'm fairly certain I can't reach both handrails at the same time.
Yeah.
So that would be the solution for now, to be parking in the bottom parking lot. And then going up through the building and walking up the stairs or walking around the building, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
If you're not handicapped. So.
I think I would be fine with it as long as the 1542 comes out of the difference,
We
would
do
come
that.
out of the engineer's budget.
Yep.
Okay, well, Judy made a motion on that.
I appreciate you putting the cost of the savings. I think that's important, that we're gonna be saving some money in the long run.
So we're gonna save quite a bit.
Yeah. And that you're using your own budget for the furniture and stuff. I think that's good too, so.
On the internet stuff, Corey, does all the different, will they have to have their own setup or not? For internet, they can just go off of same thing, and then that building has its own thing. Everybody in that building uses one one thing there. The server is what I'm trying to say,
Yeah.
isn't there?
The other thing I had, just, have you talked to the EMA?
I already have it.
Have you talked to Jill about what's going on and?
Yep,
Kind of been,
spoken with
cause
her.
she did have some concerns about where her stuff would be, that there's some stuff upstairs that.
Yes, I spoke with her and I actually consolidated and organized everything that was spread out in the rooms that we were
Okay,
hoping to use. I've consolidated and organized them, and everything's by size in a row, very easy to get to.
I just wanna make sure we're not causing conflict with
Oh, no, I've
the
been,
neighbors
no,
downstairs.
I've been very vocal and
Okay.
talked to them several times about what's gonna work best for them. I know
Yep.
at one point Jill said that room, the big room on the southeast corner, was to be her EMA headquarters in case of a disaster.
Yep.
So we've left that room fairly
Okay.
empty. The only thing that's in there right now, I believe, is stuff that was in the corners of the other two rooms that were files and things like that. I moved in there because it would go in her office eventually if she
Right.
moves up there. or however
Okay.
she decides.
Yep, I just wanna make sure that
Yeah,
that was,
I've been in
thank
contact
you.
with them.
And we walked through that a while back, but how many rooms are you doing? You're doing how many different spaces up there are you?
Office manager will be in the first office on the south side. The engineer will be in the second office on the south side. Myself and the weed commissioner will be in the first small office on the north side. And the first very big room at the top of the stairs is going to be our conference room and file storage.
So that would leave,
The only room that will not be occupied now is the southeast corner room, the great big room with the divider in it.
with the divider.
and that's where
That's
Jill
where
is,
Jill would like to
leaving
have
her
her office. Yeah.
okay. Okay, now what was the server? Should they have to buy a server? You'll be able to get rid of the server then eventually. Okay. Okay, but Todd, did you second that?
Yeah, I'll second Judy's motion.
All right, we have a motion.
And again, as long as the 1542 comes out of the difference there
So in
is
the,
covered.
in the ARPA reporting, you'll have to change,
In what?
the reporting for ARPA will have to change the 9,000.
We'll just change that.
350, it'll have to be reported that it's been taken from there and moved to this.
Yeah.
Okay. So that, yeah, has to come from their budget. Okay, we got a motion and a second on that, any other discussion on, so this is to purchase the stair lift, 2 stair lifts.
Purchase and to move.
And to move
and
the engineer to the
engineer's
annex.
office.
Yeah,
Mayor,
yes.
Holmes,
Yes,
Clark.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
okay.
Thank you. I'll move it.
All right. Okay, we have, Jan Norris here, I think somebody's together here then. That's the carbon pipeline.
Good morning.
Morning.
I am Jan Norris from Montgomery County. We live just north of the Page County line by Highway 59. Thank you for the time to come in and give you an update today on the Iowa Utilities Board and the Summit Carbon Pipeline. I know I'm going to provide you a boatload of information, so I will email you my report that will include some links for some additional detail. Bear with me if I start coughing. I have a little dust in my lungs. First of all, the Iowa Utilities Board, IUB, is now the Iowa Utilities Commission. It is part of the governor's reorganization bill. On June 25th in 2024, the IUB published a final decision and order on the Summit Carbon Solutions pipeline, granting their approval of the initial 682-mile project. As part of the order, Summit was granted the right to use eminent domain, allowing the company to seize more than a record-setting 800 parcels against the will of the property owner. The entire phase 1 route has over 3,000 parcels. Eminent domain was requested on 26% of the properties along the route. As a result of the IUB decision, over 440 families and businesses face condemnation, some of them in Page County. The majority of landowners did not have their request to move the route granted, like Marty Maher. The IUB's decision was issued with several conditions. These conditions could significantly delay the project from moving forward at this time. No construction may take place in Iowa unless both North and South Dakota grant approval. Summit has yet to even begin their second application in South Dakota after the state rejected their first attempt last year. And North Dakota has to approve both a route and a sequestration carbon storage permit. The IUB ruling was a unanimous 3-0 vote, but included a dissent in part from the 2 of the members, which will not affect the outcome. One objected to giving other states jurisdiction over construction in Iowa, and another had concerns regarding the 123 miles of the proposed route running from Ida Grove to Shenandoah, writing that those miles of pipeline are not just and proper. Concerned with the benefits did not outweigh the detrimental impacts, and as only one of the ethanol plants would be served by our 100-mile stretch of pipeline. The board also mandated that Summit's bond requirement be increased from $250,000 to $100 million to cover any damages related to pipeline construction. Several helpful conditions specific to landowners were included, such as requiring the diameter of the pipe to be precisely listed in their eminent domain filing rather than a not to exceed size. There are a few items that affect local counties and emergency management. First, Summit must go through the dispersion analysis detailing potential scenarios in the case of a pipeline rupture with emergency responders. Unfortunately, such information was not required to be given to the public. Summit must also work with counties to implement a real-time alert system so the community is immediately notified of a leak. CO2 monitors must be supplied to all volunteer first responders in personal vehicles as well as emergency response vehicles. Many counties complained they do not have the necessary equipment or funding needed in the event of a pipeline rupture. So the IUB ordered Summit to provide grants up to $10,000 so emergency response equipment can be purchased. However, that will not buy very many self-contained breathing apparatus. So what's not in the order? There was no consideration made for neighbors, only the landowners along the route. No reference to water usage was included, as that information came to light after the phase 1 hearing. And the order does not define a minimum distance from homes or livestock. The only thing unexpected about this order was that it was filed in June and not earlier in the year. So that's a quick overview of the 507-page order. This is for phase 1 only. Phase 2 will go through the same full procedures. No construction will be allowed until both North and South Dakota pass approvals, and there will be a long appeals process ahead that may take years. That was earlier this summer. Now, recently, the Iowa Utilities Commission chose to move forward with a permit to Summit Carbon Solutions for their phase 1 project only. This formalizes a June approval and moves Summit closer to building the Iowa portion of its planned $9 billion carbon capture pipeline. The price tag has doubled in 3 years. The Iowa Utilities Commission said the company had substantially complied with the requirements tied to the commission's approval, stating issuing the permit does not allow Summit to immediately commence construction, end quote. Summit has said its plans to begin building the multi-state pipeline in 2025 and be operational in 2026, which seems unrealistic given the status of the Dakotas and the multiple additional permits still needed across all facets of the project. This pipeline issue is not a done deal. Multiple appeals have been filed against the IUC's decision, and Summit has suffered a big defeat with a huge South Dakota Supreme Court ruling. Last year, South Dakota denied Summit a permit, but told them they could reapply. However, they have not yet. The last day of session in the South Dakota legislature flipped a 135-year-old law and called it a landowner bill of rights, but it is anything but. 38,000 signatures were collected by 500 volunteers in 90 days to get it on the ballot, hoping to overturn it. It was double the signatures needed. Asking the public to vote no on referred law 21. Just remember, no means no. It will be hard to see a path forward for Summit if this bill is overturned this fall. In the South Dakota June primary, the opposition unseated 12 incumbents who voted for the bill. In all, the opposition won 24 seats in South Dakota, feeling it was a referendum on the pipeline. The South Dakota Supreme Court made a unanimous landmark decision in favor of landowners fighting the proposed Summit carbon pipeline. The decision ruled against Summit, finding South Dakota's survey law is limited to minimally invasive inspection, giving landowners protections against unwanted surveys. Further, the law found that Summit did not prove its common carrier status, which prevents it from utilizing eminent domain. Without eminent domain powers, Summit's path forward appears insurmountable. The South Dakota Supreme Court also found, quote, SCS has failed to establish that the CO2 featured in this case is a commodity, end quote. The case was remanded for further lower court proceedings. But in North Dakota, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Summit in a dispute with landowners over right to access property to survey, ruling the company did not need permission from landowners. And the North Dakota Public Service Commission acknowledged a law that says if 5 or more landowners feel wronged by negotiating tactics, they can file a complaint in district court. If the court sides with the landowners, the easement agreements can be thrown out. In Iowa, landowners are also challenging survey law. Hardin County landowner Kent Kashecki was sued by Summit for refusing survey access to his land, and the case has made it up to the Iowa Supreme Court. Oral arguments will be held on Tuesday, October 8th at 7 p.m. at the Iowa State Capitol Supreme Court chambers. A live stream option is anticipated. That's a Tuesday at 7 if you're interested in watching. So I referred to phase 1 and phase 2 earlier. What is phase 2? It is called SCS Carbon Transport LLC. Summit has taken over some of the Navigator ethanol plants, including Poet and Valero, adding an additional 350 miles of pipeline in Iowa, including 30 miles in Adams and Montgomery counties. Each lateral will have a separate docket number, so we're expected to go quicker than the phase 1 application. 23 public information meetings have been held across Iowa, and Summit is now eligible to start contacting landowners and conducting surveys. In Illinois, there has been a CO2 leak in Illinois. The EPA has found that ADM violated federal safe drinking water rules and its underground injection permit with a leak at the first major US underground carbon sequestration facility. This was supposed to be the poster child for carbon sequestration, and yet just a few years in, they are already having problems. Republican Representative Charlie Thompson from Floyd County says this permit is a real line that has been crossed, calling it a direct threat to property rights of all Iowans. He says the legislature intends to take up eminent domain reform in January. Several counties are filing resolutions to object to the IUB granting eminent domain. Please let Page County consider passing one also. Everyone is against eminent domain for a private project. It is assumed it is too late for Page County to establish a setback ordinance now that the permit has been issued. Regardless of what takes place with this specific Summit project, it would be wise of Page County to consider getting a zoning ordinance in place. Other pipelines carrying other projects will be coming, especially if Summit completes construction. Please review and update your road crossing permit policy. Some counties have recognized This is a way to protect against future costs and include language specific to CO2 pipelines. Bremer and Wright counties have updated their policies and have shared their documents for other counties to consider. In 2022, I believe Summit gave you a projection of anticipated tax revenues from their project of $245,000. In the most recent report, those figures have been updated to $160,000, a 35% increase, but we don't know why. This summer, a water report was published showing the concerning amount of water the carbon capture process will use. Utilizing information publicly available, calculations were made that showed an additional 3.36 billion gallons of water every year would be needed just to cool the CO2 for transport in the 31 ethanol plants proposed in Iowa. Ethanol currently averages 3 gallons of water to make 1 gallon of fuel. In Shenandoah, the cities use almost 34% of the water. Green Plain uses 49%, and carbon capture would use an additional 17%. These numbers are very concerning. Each county has the responsibility of hiring a land restoration inspector. This is the only advocate the landowner will have through the whole construction process. This inspector will oversee the separation of topsoil, follow compaction, and putting the soil back together again after the pipe is in the ground, among other things. I believe you signed a letter early on with Summit recommended ISG. I can tell you I've seen Snyder and Associates give a presentation to Adams County, and I followed their updates in Montgomery County. Their project manager, Christina Paradise, stayed around for an extra hour in Red Oak this summer and conducted Q&A with landowners. 30 people stayed over an hour to talk to her. I've been impressed with their work. It would be reasonable for you to consider hiring an independent Iowa-based inspector, not the firm recommended by Summit. And now, this is my take. Iowa's decision has been controversial, especially because it gives Summit the ability to use eminent domain to force unwilling landowners. The permit was expected sooner or later, but in my opinion, the IUC is doing a disservice to Iowa by permitting a pipeline with no safety rules, overwhelming opposition, a record number of unsigned parcels, pending litigation, denial in all other impacted states, and a recent unanimous South Dakota Supreme Court decision stating that Summit has not proven common carrier status. Summit cannot begin construction until it has approval in South Dakota and in North Dakota for the route and sequestration, which could take years. Essentially, this is a permit to nowhere. Several counties have filed appeals, and the details will be argued in court, and resolution will take months, if not years. Summit likes to brag. They have more than 70% of voluntary easements, but those were signed well before the public had adequate information to make an informed decision. I have personally talked to a local phase 1 landowner that says the omission of information Summit left out of their discussions made it a lie, and he wouldn't have signed an easement if he had known then what he knows now. Even if this project is ultimately never constructed, these easements could be forever, and the easement language states it can be sold, transferred, assigned, mortgaged to another entity without notice or permission from the landowner. So in conclusion, these are precedent-setting projects. What is allowed to begin here in Iowa with this project will have lasting effects and determine our futures. Please consider what you can do for your taxpayers to be the best prepared as you can should these hazardous liquid pipelines be built. Thank you.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for me?
I'm trying to remember a few years ago, I feel like we did something. And we did not condone eminent domain. I don't remember if it was a resolution or what it was a few years ago.
You may have filed, some counties filed objections early on, but now recently they're stepping up and doing a resolution,
Yeah.
which is a little bit stronger. And I have a sample one that I can email you.
All right, go ahead and email that to us. Let's look at that. Okay, anything else? Questions?
Thank you, I
Thanks for
appreciate
coming
the
in and
time.
giving
Thank
that
you,
report there. Okay, number 11, solar ordinance.
Before JP leaves, I have a text here from a landowner who wants to know why why the trucks are sending tons of why they're sending tons of Page County trucks the last 2 days on V Avenue. Hauling dirt. Okay,
From 310. That's, guys are traveling on.
taking dirt from 310 to X Avenue.
To that tube or railroad car
To the railroad car,
crossing.
okay. And they need to spray our road or do something.
How
I'm
many,
sure you know,
how many more loads?
yeah.
How many more days is this gonna be going on? Hauling dirt.
Probably. We're all from up north, to not only from that.
Okay. Thank you. Do what?
Oh, so they're gonna do it?
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Sorry.
that's all right. Okay, so we'll go on the solar ordinance there. I printed off what you sent us, Todd.
So,
Looks nice.
yeah, so I tried to put all the finishing touches on it, but
Thanks, Todd.
I wanted to make sure, you guys feel free to mark it up or do whatever if they have questions. I think it incorporated everything that we have been talking about.
On the, I just glanced at quick, the very back page, I think when we talked about that a few months ago, I was wondering about, yes, it's $200 for each additional kilowatt and then a maximum of 10,000, just crossing out the maximum. Just whatever they do, they have to pay $200. You see what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Just let it build.
Yep, no, that's fine.
That's something can't remember what we come to on that, but the chart's fine, just take off the maximum.
Okay.
I didn't know on the language on page, let's see, what page is that? Be the third from the back, I don't have page numbers there, where it's talking about financial surety, Social security, if we, I don't know if somehow if we want to change that to be like,
On what page?
the financial,
Financial surety.
yeah, surety, it's B, let's see, I should give you a letter here.
Oh,
What
financial
would that
surety.
be?
Okay.
It'd be H,
H.
I, 2. Or H, yeah, 1, 2. You see that? Just the language in there if we wanna, cause it says, maintain in form of cash, CD, performance bond, escrow, surety bond. That says like letter of credit or guarantee. I don't know. I don't know if a letter of credit holds as much weight as the cash.
Yeah,
That's, I just, maybe look at that wording, make sure.
okay. Yeah, I mean, feel free to, like I said.
It looks, I think once we do a couple little word things here, maybe we should have some attorney just look it over and make sure they don't think it argues with itself,
Right, yep.
and
no,
then
That's
I
fine.
can go. Have
Yeah.
Carl or somebody look at it. Let's see here.
And yeah, and I can send it to Carl.
Let's see. Height of setback. pretty good, the way it all worked out looks pretty good, I think. It worked. The way it flows pretty nice. Missed or not.
Yeah, I tried to,
It's nicely shortened.
yeah, I took all the stuff out that
Yes.
didn't need to be in there, so.
So, what do we wanna do?
I'm gonna send it to Carl to look at maybe.
Yeah,
Let
do
him
you wanna
look at
send
it.
me your changes? I'll change it, I'll send it back out to you guys and to Carl. I'll change that wording on the maps, and then, do you wanna change something on the credit stuff?
I don't know, just the wording there, I don't know if we just,
Just remove the letter. of
remove that
credit.
letter of credit, I don't completely know
I'm not sure what that would be anymore.
what that is exactly, so. Yeah, you could basically just. You put or surety bond period,
That's,
just,
where's that exactly at?
that's it. 1, 2, 3 pages from the end of it. In section H. Down there, okay, well, I think maybe let's just see if it presents any issues we're not seeing legally. Go from there. Find it,
No,
where it says financial surety,
yeah, then there's,
go down to number 2 there, under 1.
so the
1, 2.
financial security fund. That paragraph, okay,
Maybe just go where it goes performance bond, escrow account, surety bond, or say, or surety bond, period.
and just take out the performance bond in the escrow account?
No, I mean, just do what leave all, I think, I don't know, I guess we need to define what a performance bond is. I know escrow, the money's sitting there in an account. Maybe we need a definition of those words, because I'm not sure exactly what some of those.
Okay.
Maybe we just
I can
define that a little bit,
Okay,
maybe we can ask for a definition on that, you know,
yep, I can do that.
not just that wording. So I think that, we can just send that over and check it out as quick as possible, and we'll.
I'll probably go back and add that to the beginning where it's talking about definitions. Okay,
Yeah, define that or something.
yep,
That looks good to me, I think.
Okay.
Any other thoughts? Just send it on?
Looks good.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's send that on. We'll step a little changes. Board communications where I'm at, I think, yeah. Next week, is there anything? I don't need to think
Have
about,
anything next week?
even for our meeting next week, is there something we need to work on? Let's see, the 10th.
I had a Revancy meeting last week and an interagency meeting.
And yes, let's see.
I would like to remind everybody that there's, so the Essential Services Committee and the people that are looking into that are still having town halls in most of the towns, so just encourage people to look for information for those and go to those meetings. They're pretty informative. I think each community in Page County is having one, so.
I wish the one in Clarinda was not the 30th because Absentee voting starts the 16th,
Oh, yeah.
and I think the 30th is really late.
Yeah, they were trying to get to where everybody could, each town would have them and they would, and so they kind of let like Clarendon Hospital and Clarendon decide when they were gonna
Yeah.
have it, so they probably didn't take that into consideration, I suppose, but.
Well, if there's no other plans for next week, did not have claims. The minutes here. We've got from the weeks of the 19th, we had a couple special meetings. Let's see, the 19th, the 23rd, and the 26th. There's a couple here on.
I didn't, because I didn't know what you guys had done last week.
Yeah, that's all right. Right. Oops, sorry, didn't say it was a couple. What was those other dates? It was the 20, I didn't pass those over there, I didn't. The 19th and the 23rd.
19th, 23rd, 26th.
The 23rd and 26th, I have no issue with. The 19th here, made amendments. So.
I'll make a motion that we approve the amended minutes on the 19th and approve the minutes of the 23rd and the 26th as read.
What did you,
As presented, we
what
didn't read
ones
them.
did you say, Todd?
Oh, I approve the amended minutes of the 19th to meet the Iowa Board of Public Information, or Iowa Public Information Board guidelines presented to the clerk this meeting, and these minutes to be published to the Page County Board of Supervisors, the minute book, as well as the minutes for the 23rd and the 26th as written.
As presented, yeah, those two. Yeah. I'll second that.
Mayor,
Yes.
Holmes.
Yeah.
Clark.
No.
Okay. All right, well, if there's no other business, we can adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Got a motion, got a second?
I'll second that.
All right, Judy second that, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.